To begin this tutorial, the first thing we'll do is go to the Shanks tab and create a reference curve. In this case, we'll use the Spanish region and select ring size 13. Next, we'll switch the display mode to shaded by holding Shift and clicking at the bottom of the viewport. This activates shaded mode across all viewports at once. Once we have our reference curve, we'll extrude it using the gumball. To extrude in both directions, hold Shift while dragging. It doesn't need to be an exact measurement. We can use the grid squares in the top view as a guide. Extrude it roughly up to the first quadrant. Now we have a closed cylinder. Hold Ctrl plus Shift to select the faces and delete them, turning it into an open cylinder. This makes it easier to view and model the inside. A very important detail here is the seam of the object. As you can see, the seam of the cylinder is located at the bottom. In my view, the seam is visible. But if yours isn't, look for the thicker line among the surface edges. That's the seam. For this model, it's crucial that the seam remains at the bottom, just like shown in the video. Once the seam is positioned correctly, go to the Surface tab and use the Unroll Surface command to create a flat surface matching the cylinder's dimensions. Run the command, select the cylinder, and right-click to confirm. What I like to do next is select the new surface and type Artisan Center. This command automatically centers the surface, allowing us to position it easily. I'll place it right in front of the cylinder. Now, go to the Curve tab and use the Line command to draw a line across the center of the surface. Use OSNAP guides. When you see mid, click to confirm. Once we have this, we can start sketching our design curves. From the top view, we'll begin placing a few circles. The first one will have a diameter of 6 millimeters. After creating it, change its layer color for visibility and position it so it slightly crosses the center line. Next, create another circle, this time 7 millimeters in diameter, positioned roughly the same distance from the first circle as from the bottom edge of the surface. Pause the video if you need to. Remember, this design doesn't need to be exact. We're creating an organic model, so feel free to adapt it to your own style. Now, create a third circle with a diameter of 3.5 millimeters, positioned near the center line and slightly outside the surface. These 3 circles will define the main shape of the snake. To connect them, use the Blend Curve command. Click on the top point of the smallest circle, then click on the bottom of the larger circle. You'll see the connecting curve appear. In the Options panel, set the first continuity to curvature and the second to tangency, then Accept. Repeat the same for the upper connection. Activate Blend. Click the bottom of the smaller circle and the top of the larger one. If the directions appear inverted, use Flip to correct them. If the blend curve overlaps the circle, adjust the connection points manually until the transition looks smooth. Once it's right, confirm the command. Now, let's create a few reference points to trim our curves. For the top, select the large circle, use the Point command, and place one at its uppermost point. For the smaller circle, we'll create another point on its lower right side, using the Near OSNAP option. Select both points, the circles, and the connecting curves. To select multiple objects, hold Shift. Then, in the top left, click Trim and remove the unnecessary curve segments as shown in the video. Now we have the basic shape of our snake. Next, we'll create a reference line. This will represent the ring curve, as it shares the same diameter as the original ring curve used for the cylinder. When creating it, hold Shift to ensure it's perfectly straight. Position it near the other curves. What's the purpose of this line? When transferring the flat curves back onto the cylinder, we'll need a base curve that matches the ring's circumference. We can verify this using the Analyze command. Both curves should have the same length, which is crucial for accurate mapping. Now, use the Curve command to create a connecting curve from the top point of our design down to the end of the reference line. Gradually move the control points closer to the line to give it a smooth curvature. Select all curves and use Join. Check the command line. If it says joined into two curves, it means something didn't connect. We need a single curve. Identify the missing connection. Create a point and trim or realign the ends so they match. Join again, and you should get one continuous curve. If any part looks too sharp, delete a control point to make it smoother. Now, at the top center, create a new circle of 3.5 millimeters. Add one point slightly to the right at the top of the circle and another at the bottom. Use trim to cut between them. To make the head of the snake face forward, add another point closer to the top and trim a bit more from that side. Next, draw a connecting curve from this circle's endpoint to the left end of the long curve we created earlier. Use the same method. Adjust control points gradually for a natural flow. Once you're happy, join them together and smooth the junction by deleting the control point at the connection. If you want to clean up, type cell point to select all points and delete them. We won't need them anymore. Now, go to the Transform tab and use the Quick Flow command. As the base curve, select the horizontal line across the flat surface. As the target curve, select the ring curve on the cylinder. For deformable objects, choose both snake curves. You'll see how the design flows perfectly over the cylinder's surface. Adjust the cylinder's position if needed to view it better, then accept the result. Now our snake design is projected onto the ring. Join the two curves using the Join command. Next, we'll reduce the control points of the joined curve using the Fit command, leaving the default tolerance of 0.1 millimeters. Now go to the Accessories tab and use the Profiles command. You can choose any preset from the library or pick one that looks close to what you need. We'll edit it anyway. I'll select the first profile and click Edit. We'll start by editing Profile 1. Delete the left center point of the profile curve and adjust the remaining point so it's at the same height as the middle point. This prevents the creation of an extra seam along the center of the ring. Set the width to 2.5 millimeters and the height to 1.7 millimeters. Add the cylinder to the command panel to use as a reference, so the profile aligns correctly. Since the inner part is rounded, switch the type to solid to make it flat. Next, edit Profile 2. Change its curve to match the one used in Profile 1. You'll find it as the last asset in the list. Set the same parameters, 2.5 by 1.7 millimeters, switch to solid, and click Accept. Now we'll extract a copy of the top surface of the snake. To do this, go to the Solid tab and use Extract Surface. Make sure the Copy option is set to Yes in the command line. Select the surface and right-click to confirm. Move this surface to a new layer for organization and hide the rest of the model. As we can see, this surface is made of two parts, and we need them joined. Notice how both topologies, the way the surfaces are structured, are very similar in size. We can check this by turning on control points. Now, go to the Surface tab and use Merge Surface. Select one surface, then the other, and you'll see the seam disappear. Now we have a clean, unified surface ready for texturing. Before continuing, let's see how to add a new texture to our RhinoArtisan texture library. Go to the File tab and select User folder. Inside the folder that opens, you'll find several RhinoArtisan libraries. Locate the folder called Texture 3D and open it. Here you'll see all your textures. Simply drag and drop the new texture file you've downloaded for this tutorial into this folder. Once the texture is added, go back to the Accessories tab and use the Texture 3D command. Select the model you want to apply the texture to, then choose your new texture. You'll see a preview on the model. You can adjust the height. For example, set it to 0.40 millimeters, then click Refresh to recompute the texture. If you like how it looks, accept the command. RhinoArtisan will automatically apply the texture to your model. If you don't see it, unhide the first metal layer. If it appears inverted, just type Flip to correct the orientation. Now, hide the cylinder by typing Hide in the command bar. Then go to the Solid tab and extract the bottom surfaces of the model and the area where the snake's head will be. Make sure Copy is enabled and move these new surfaces, along with the textured one, to a new layer. Hide everything else. Select all the visible surfaces and join them. If you see any open edges, check whether you missed a part. If so, extract that missing surface and join again. Now it should be completely closed. Finally, download or create a snake head of your choice for this model. Position it. Use all the views to position it as you like. And use Boolean Union from the Mesh tab to merge it with the rest of the model. And that's it. Our snake ring is ready. We'll leave a render reference for you, but don't hesitate to share your own results. Remember, all necessary resources can be found in the video description.